Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's Hexagon Hacks session. My name is Rebecca, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to kick things off before handing it over to today's presenter, which is going to be Jordan. For those of you that are new to Hexagon Hacks, each Wednesday we bring you a rapid fire 15-minute session packed with powerful tips or even hidden features or new functionality to help you get the most out of Hexagon EAM. All of the recordings are available on the Digital Thinker YouTube channel. So if you happen to miss this session, be sure to check out the Hexagon Hacks playlist. And today is week 2 of our maintenance mastery topic. To give you an idea of what is on the horizon, we are going to kick off System Admin Hacks 1 week early. So we're going to start System Admin Hacks on October 28th, since we will not be hosting a session the week of Thanksgiving. Then we'll wrap up the year by sharing content related to mobile and field productivity. So now I'm going to hand things off to Jordan to introduce today's topic.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about mass updating work orders. So there's plenty of ways to do this in Hexagon EAM. I'm going to show kind of the simplest version, the version that doesn't require any SQL knowledge, knowing how to do any uploading, importing using, the import templates Hexagon can provide you. We're just going to be talking about doing this in the front end of the system on the work order screen. So one thing we'll just want to check is the both making sure the user has that checkbox enabled, and then I'll just dive into the work order screen and show you how to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and take over sharing. Let me see, share. Well, let's start with this screen over here. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, looks good.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so first want to touch on the user setup here. So I'm just going to go into my personal user in my environment. And I'm going to take a look at this allow update field option. So if you don't see this on your user group setting, you can go into Screen Designer and enable it if you have Screen Designer permissions. So as long as I have this allow update field option checked, I am going to be able to update work orders based off the method I'm showing you today. So if I go to my work order screen and I go into this grid format here, this is where I'm going to be able to use that update field option. So a couple different ways I can do this. I can just click on one work order if I wanted to and right click and click this update field option. I could also hold down my control button and click individual records one at a time that I wanted to perform this mass update on. I could also, if I hit Control A, I'm able to highlight everything that's on my screen that's showing. So this records, 50 records here, it'll highlight whatever is on view on the screen. So if I hit that Control A button, it's not going to highlight every single work order record that I would have in the system. It's only going to take what is in view on my screen. So right now I have 50 records selected, but if I then hit Control A again, I would now have 100 records. And I could scroll down as far as I wanted to and include all these records. But I would say if you are doing this mass update, you probably want to stick to just a few hundred records at a time, just for processing time, just being able to control the data. I would stick to just a couple hundred at a time, maybe 300, 400, depending on, how many you want to update at once. So I want to show you kind of one way with this. So I could take my work order view here, custom select my work orders, and then click that write update field option. But one method I wanted to show is taking an export of this data. So if I go down here and click this save grid to Excel, it'll export this in an Excel sheet for me. What I can do then, and if you don't see my Excel sheet, just let me know. Um, but what I can do here is create a column, and I'm going to insert it right to this work order. So say someone comes up to me, a maintenance supervisor, someone comes up to me and says, hey, I have these 10 work orders that I need to have assigned to me. I have these 10 work orders that I need closed out. Can you go ahead and close these out for me? I can take a list of work orders and plug them into my advanced data spy and get only those 10 selected. Because maybe there's an example where um, yeah, maybe I have 500 released work orders in the system. Maybe they're those 10 work orders that my maintenance personnel came to give to me. Maybe they all have different departments. They have different equipment, different classes. So there's not a way I can filter on the data spy to get those specific 10. And I want to hard code those essentially for the data spy to only pull those 10. What I can do is I can just do a little Excel formula. So equals, I'm going to do concatenate, and then a left parentheses here. So I'm going to set this up in a way that the advanced data spy will accept it. So I'm going to do double quotes, single quote, double quote, comma, and then I'm going to select, say, 10 work orders here. Comma, I'm going to do the single quote again here, and then I'm going to do a comma. And close parentheses. What that'll do is list out these work orders for me. I'm going to take this, copy it, and move it over into my EAM environment. So these are also going to be two user checkboxes that you'll need. One is the ability to edit a data spy, and the other is to show the advanced data spy in here. So if I go down to my advanced, I can input a where clause in here. So all I need to do is write out EVT code, which in the R5 events table stands for my work order code or my event code, more specific. EVT code in, and I'm going to do a left parentheses here. If I do paste what I had in there, and then all I need to do is delete this last comma and put in a right parentheses. So that concatenation, what I showed you, is just listing out these work orders. So I'm not having to, type single quote, type out one work order, single quote, comma, type out the next one, type out the next one. I can take, as long as I have it in an Excel spreadsheet, I can take, 150, 200 at a time, as long as this where clause, I believe, is within a 2,000 character limit. You can take up to as many work orders that you can fit within this where clause box. I'll just do 10 for this case, and I'll just test it to make sure I wrote it correctly. Looks good. And then I can just go ahead and hit run. So I have those 10 work orders now specified out. And let's see how to edit or to, say, mass update these work orders. I'll do the Control A option, and it's highlighting these 10 that I'm showing on this data spy. If I right click and go to update field, now I'm just going to update the work order class. I know maybe Rebecca or maybe some other people in our training environment are using these work orders, so I don't want to, close these out. I just want to make an edit on these work orders. So let's take class and let's change it to, say, all classes here. Now, what this is going to do is it's not going to override any maybe flex rules I have set up, user group permissions, status authorizations. It's not going to override any of these. What this is simulating is me going in individually to these work orders one by one and making this change manually and hitting save. So if there are errors that are going to pop up, for example, if I go ahead and hit submit, it's going to run an update on these 10 work orders, at least attempt to. And I'll probably get 5, which makes sense here. So 5 records were processed successfully, 5 records are in error. Based off my data spy, you're going to clearly see which ones were edited, and it's these first 5. Now, the reason is I've got 5 completed work orders. In our case, in our environment, completed does stand for a closed status, so the work order is locked down. In this case, that makes sense. I can't edit class because those work orders are closed. There could be an example where maybe I'm trying to go in and update the status to closed, but my user doesn't have those permissions or my user group. I could have the option where maybe I have work order type authorizations turned on in my environment, and there's a couple work orders that I don't have that type or the statuses for that type available to my user group or user. And therefore, I'm going to get an error when I try to update that work order. Maybe I have a flex rule that is saying, hey, I need to input comments in a work order before I close it out. I'm not going to be able to change the status to closed until I input comments in the work order. So you're not going to be able to overwrite any security things you have in your environment. This is just going to speed up your ability to mass update these work orders. Now, there are some other screens that I'm able to do this on. I believe parts is one. If I was to go to the parts screen, and a quick, easy way to check if you can use that update field option is getting your list of data spies, hitting your control button, and just clicking on records. That's your signal to know, hey, I can use this update field option, or you could simply right click, update field. Some other ones, like maybe you want to update the record view of task plans, you should be able to do it with task plans. And then equipment is going to be another big one. Asset systems, positions. You should be also able to use this update field shortcut as well. Some screens you're not going to be able to use it for. PM schedules is one. That's a common one we get. Hey, can you, mass update these PM schedules? Maybe I want to change the duration of them. Maybe I want to change some of the descriptions. You're not going to be able to do that using this update field option. If I was to go to the PM schedule screen, I don't think I have that saved on my screen cache. So if I go to PM schedules and I go to my data spy and I try to right click, I'm not going to get anything to pop up. So in this case, if I was trying to update, mass update record view on the PM schedule, I'd have a couple other options. One, I could try basically taking an export of this screen and doing a import utility update. Maybe selecting in my import utility to enable update when the record exists. And I take those, say, 50 PM schedules I'm trying to update and perform an update load on that. I could do that. I could use, and maybe some of y'all know this, is using R5 organization to, this would be a flex business rule. So I could, if I knew how to write SQL, I could go in, perform I believe, a post update on the R5 organization table and pick out, say, maybe I want to update all work orders that have a class of, star, or class of, maybe it's a corrective class or something. I could do that. I could also do an R5 tracking data flex rule as well, a post insert. Those are going to get a little more complicated. You need some SQL knowledge to be able to do that, but your best bet, especially if you're trying to do PM schedule, would probably be doing an update load with your import utility. Um, and that's pretty much it. So just to kind of recap, make sure you have that allow update field option enabled on your user setup. And then you can use the advanced data spy if you're specifically looking to filter out. Um, you're given a list of 50 work orders that you need to perform, and there's no exact way you can organize these filters to get that list down exactly the way you want it. Um, so you could go in, do EVT code in, and then list out those work orders that you want to appear on your data spy. And then you just right click, click update field, and then I'll just show some of the other ones here. So status is going to be an important one that people want to update. Maybe the work order type. If you do have e-signature enabled, you can also e-signature for multiple work orders depending on your system settings. And then, scheduled start date, um, due date, if that's one that you have, maybe specifically if it's a user defined date field, assigned to, changing the assigned to for a work order. So multiple options that you can use that update field option for. And that's pretty much it. So I'll just cover, Rebecca, I'll go ahead and share that last slide for us. All right, so here is our link tree here. I can go ahead and post it in the chat. Let's see, Rebecca, if you beat me to it, you can
Yep,
post it in there, but
I posted it. Yep.
awesome.
So just an opportunity, if you're not sure how to connect with us, you're going to see a link to our YouTube channel. If you want to reach out, if we could be of further assistance. Uh, Jordan, that was great. A lot of great feedback and ideas in the meeting chat. It looks like there's a handful of ideas that have been submitted to Hexagon development regarding the update field functionality. So glad to hear folks are using it and looking for more flexibility with that feature. So thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you back next week for another Hexagon Hacks. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.